My husband forced me to sign away my multi-million-dollar estate until his own lawyer told him what he'd actually done. Before the story continues, kindly subscribe to support us. And while you're here, say hi and tell us where you're watching from. We cherish every comment. The pen felt like lead in my trembling fingers as I stared at the documents spread across our mahogany dining table. The same table where we'd shared countless Sunday dinners, where I'd blown out birthday candles, where we'd planned our future together. Now it felt like an execution platform. Sign it, Maya. Marcus's voice cut through the silence like a blade. His 6-foot frame loomed over me, casting shadows across the papers that would strip away everything my grandmother had worked for. Everything she'd left me. My chest tightened as I read the words again: transfer of estate ownership. The house in the hills, the rental properties, the investment accounts, all worth $8 million. All about to become his. Baby, please, I whispered, my voice cracking. Grandma Rose left this to me. It's been in our family for 3 generations. Marcus slammed his palm against the table, making me flinch. Your family. We're married, Maya. What's yours is mine, what's mine is yours. That's how this works. His dark eyes held no warmth, no trace of the man who'd whispered sweet promises in my ear just 2 years ago. The diamond on my finger, the same one he'd proposed with at sunset on the beach, now felt like a shackle. How had we gotten here? How had love turned into this cold transaction? The lawyer's waiting, Marcus said, checking his Rolex. Sign it now, or I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. And trust me, baby, you won't like how that goes. My hand shook as I brought the pen closer to the signature line. I set the pen down, my heart hammering against my ribcage. I need to understand something first. Why now? We've been married 2 years, and you've never. Never what? Never wanted what's rightfully mine. Marcus moved closer, his cologne, the same Tom Ford I'd bought him for our first anniversary, now making me nauseous. I've been patient, Maya. But my business needs capital, and this inheritance is just sitting there. That business. His consulting firm that never seemed to have actual clients. The mysterious meetings. The late-night phone calls he'd take in another room. My stomach churned as pieces started clicking together. What kind of capital? I pressed, studying his face. What aren't you telling me? His jaw clenched, a vein pulsing at his temple. The kind that keeps us living the lifestyle you've grown accustomed to. Designer bags, expensive dinners, that BMW in the driveway. You think that comes from my good looks? The words hit like ice water. My grandmother's money had been funding our life this entire time, not his mysterious business success. I'd been so naive, so blinded by what I thought was love. So this was always the plan. My voice was barely a whisper. Marry me, get access to the inheritance. Marcus's mask slipped for just a moment, revealing something cold and calculating underneath. Then the charming smile returned, the one that had fooled me completely. Sign the papers, Maya. Don't make this harder than it has to be. I picked up the pen again, but this time, I had a different plan forming in my mind. I let out a shaky breath and nodded slowly. You're right. We're a team. I'm sorry for making this so difficult. Marcus's shoulders relaxed slightly. Good. Let him think he'd won. That's my girl, he said, his voice softening with fake tenderness. This is for us, baby. For our future. I signed my name with deliberate care, each letter a performance. Maya Washington Chen. The hyphenated name I'd been so proud to take now felt like a brand marking me as his property. There, I said, sliding the papers toward him. Happy now? He actually smiled, that megawatt grin that had made me fall for him at my cousin Jasmine's wedding. Very happy. You've made the right choice. As he gathered the documents, I caught sight of something that made my blood freeze. A business card had slipped from between the pages. Henderson and Associates, divorce specialists. He'd been planning this all along. Win or lose, he was leaving me. I'm going to drop these off at the lawyer's office, Marcus said, kissing my forehead like nothing had changed. Then we should celebrate. Dinner at Le Bernardin. Actually, I said carefully, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. Maybe I'll just stay in tonight. You go ahead. Something flickered in his eyes, suspicion. But he nodded. Sure, baby. Get some rest. Tomorrow starts our new life. The moment the door closed behind him, I grabbed my phone and dialed a number I knew by heart. Jasmine. It's Maya. I need your help, and I need it now. Girl, what? My cousin Jasmine's voice crackled through the phone. He made you sign what? I paced the living room, my bare feet silent on the imported Italian marble Marcus had insisted we install. All of it, Jazz. The house, the rental properties, everything Grandma Rose left me. That manipulative piece of, she caught herself. Okay. Think. What exactly did you sign? Transfer of ownership documents. He said it was just making our assets joint, but I grabbed the copies I'd managed to scan while he wasn't looking. It's not joint ownership, Jazz. It's full transfer. To him. Only him. Silence stretched between us before Jasmine spoke again, her voice deadly calm. Maya, remember when we were 12 and you helped me get revenge on that boy who broke my heart? You mean when we signed him up for every embarrassing magazine subscription we could find? Despite everything, I almost smiled. That's my cousin. We're gonna get through this, but we need help. Real help. She paused. I'm calling Aunt Denise. No. I nearly dropped the phone. You know how she feels about Marcus. She'll just say, I told you so, Anne. And what? Let you lose everything Grandma worked for because you're too proud to ask for help. Jasmine's voice softened. Baby girl, Aunt Denise might be tough, but she loves you. And more importantly, she's got connections you need right now. I closed my eyes, thinking of my mother's sister, the family attorney who'd handled Grandma Rose's will, the woman who'd warned me Marcus was moving too fast. Call her, I whispered. The doorbell rang, making me jump. Marcus was back. I ended the call and smoothed my hair before opening the door. But it wasn't Marcus standing on my doorstep, it was a woman I'd never seen before, elegant and poised despite the late hour. Mrs. Chen. Her voice carried a slight accent I couldn't place. My name is Dr. Victoria Sterling. I apologize for the intrusion, but I need to speak with you about your husband. My grip tightened on the door handle. I'm sorry, who are you? Someone who should have reached out sooner. She glanced over her shoulder nervously. May I come in? What I have to tell you isn't safe to discuss out here. Every instinct screamed danger, but something in her eyes, fear, guilt, made me step aside. Dr. Sterling moved into the foyer with the careful precision of someone accustomed to being watched. She was stunning, probably mid-40s, with silver-streaked hair and expensive jewelry that suggested serious money. Your husband, she began, then stopped. No, that's not accurate. The man you married, his real name isn't Marcus Chen. The world tilted sideways. What? It's Martin Cartwright. And I'm his wife. His first wife, who he never divorced. I sank onto the couch, my legs suddenly unable to support me. That's impossible. We have a marriage license, A marriage license obtained with fraudulent documents. Dr. Sterling sat across from me, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Mrs. I don't even know what to call you. Legally, you're not his wife. You never were. The room spun as the implications hit me. If we weren't legally married, then the documents I just signed. The estate transfer, I breathed. Dr. Sterling nodded grimly. I'm a forensic accountant, Mrs. Washington. I've been tracking him for 2 years, watching him systematically destroy lives. Yours is just the latest. How many? I asked, though I wasn't sure I wanted to know. You're number 5. Dr. Sterling opened her leather briefcase and pulled out a thick folder. Sarah Mitchell in Atlanta. Jennifer Hayes in Miami. Christina Rodriguez in Phoenix. Tanya Johnson in Chicago. She set photos on my coffee table like tarot cards revealing a horrible future. All successful women. All with significant assets. All targeted, seduced, and stripped of everything they owned. I stared at the photos. Different faces, different backgrounds, but the same hollow look in their eyes, the look I now recognized in the mirror. How? My voice came out as a croak. He studies his targets carefully. Finds women who've recently inherited money or have successful businesses. Women who are lonely, maybe isolated from family. She paused meaningfully. Women who are grieving. Grandma Rose had died just 6 months before I met Marcus at Jasmine's wedding. I'd been drowning in loss, vulnerable and desperate for someone to make the pain stop. He becomes exactly what you need, Dr. Sterling continued. Charming, attentive, understanding. The perfect partner. Until he gets what he came for. But why are you telling me this? If you're his wife. Because I was victim number 1. Her voice hardened. He destroyed my practice, bankrupted my children's college funds, left me fighting for my professional reputation. It took me 3 years to rebuild my life and start tracking him down. I thought about the business card I'd seen, the divorce attorney. He's going to leave me. Within the week, I'd guess. Once the estate transfer is finalized, he'll file for divorce citing irreconcilable differences. You'll be left with nothing, and by the time you realize what happened, he'll be gone with a new identity in a new city. The front door clicked open. Marcus's voice echoed through the house, Maya. Baby, I'm home. Dr. Sterling grabbed my hand, her grip surprisingly strong. There's still time to stop this, but we have to move fast. Do you trust me? Footsteps approached the living room. I had seconds to decide. Hide, I whispered. Dr. Sterling slipped behind the kitchen archway just as Marcus entered the living room, his arms full of champagne and roses. Surprise. He beamed that perfect smile. I know you said you wanted to stay in, but I thought we should celebrate properly. His eyes scanned the room, lingering on the spot where the photos had been moments before I'd swept them under a magazine. That's sweet, baby. I forced brightness into my voice while my heart threatened to explode. How did things go with the lawyer? Perfect. Everything's filed and processed. Mr. Henderson says the transfer should be complete by Friday. He set the champagne on the table and pulled me into his arms. We did it, Maya. We're finally on the same team. The lies came so easily to him. Even now, knowing what I knew, part of me wanted to believe the warmth in his voice was real. I love you, he murmured against my hair. I love you too, Marcus. The name felt like poison on my tongue. He pulled back, studying my face with those dark eyes I'd once thought were soulful. You seem tense. Everything okay? From the kitchen came the faintest sound, a shoe against tile. Marcus's head turned slightly. What was that? The ice maker, I said quickly. It's been making weird noises all day. I keep meaning to call a repair guy. He nodded, but I caught him glancing toward the kitchen again. Suspicion was creeping in, changing his posture, sharpening his features. You know what? Marcus said casually, I'm gonna grab us some glasses for the champagne. No. The word came out too sharp, too panicked. His eyes narrowed. In that moment, the mask finally fell away completely, revealing the predator underneath. What's in my kitchen, Maya? The silence stretched between us like a tightrope ready to snap. Marcus took a step toward the kitchen, and I knew I was out of time. Her name is Dr. Victoria Sterling, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. And she's your wife. Marcus froze mid-step. For a moment, something flickered across his face, surprise. Fear. Then his expression went completely blank. You must be confused, baby. I don't know anyone by that name. Martin Cartwright. I spoke the name like a weapon. That's your real name, isn't it? Dr. Sterling emerged from the kitchen, her professional composure intact despite the circumstances. Hello, Martin. You're looking well. The transformation in Marcus was instantaneous and terrifying. The charming facade shattered, revealing raw fury underneath. Victoria. Should have known you'd stick your nose where it doesn't belong. Like protecting innocent women from your schemes. She moved to stand beside me, and I felt strength in her presence. How long were you planning to keep this going? Marcus laughed, but it was a sound devoid of any warmth. As long as it took. Maya here just made it very easy. He gestured to the documents on the table. $8 million. My biggest score yet. The casual cruelty of it hit me like a physical blow. 2 years of my life, all the moments I'd thought were real, our first date, our wedding day, the quiet mornings when he'd whisper how much I meant to him, all of it had been performance. You're sick, I whispered. I'm practical. Marcus straightened his tie with deliberate calm. You rich girls are all the same. Lonely, desperate to be loved, willing to believe anything that makes you feel special. The other women were just as naive as you. His smile returned, sharp as broken glass. But don't worry, Maya. This is almost over. That's when I noticed his hand moving toward his jacket pocket. Martin, don't. Dr. Sterling's voice carried a warning I'd never heard before, professional authority mixed with genuine fear. My eyes followed her gaze to Marcus's hand, which had still just inside his jacket. The implication hit me like ice water, he was armed. Don't what, Victoria? His voice was silk over steel. Don't protect my investment. $8 million is a lot of money to walk away from. The transfer isn't finalized yet, I said quickly, my mind racing. You said Friday. Today's only Wednesday. Smart girl. Marcus pulled his hand away from his jacket, slowly, deliberately. Which means we have a small problem to solve. Dr. Sterling stepped protectively in front of me. There are people who know where I am, Martin. My associate is waiting outside. If I don't call in 10 minutes. You always were a terrible liar. Marcus moved to the window and peered through the blinds. No car outside except Maya's BMW and my Mercedes. You came alone, just like always. The great Dr. Victoria Sterling, thinking she can save the world one victim at a time. My phone buzzed. A text from Jasmine, Aunt Denise is on her way. ETA 20 minutes. Marcus's head snapped toward the sound. Give me the phone, Maya. No. The word surprised us both. I'd spent 2 years saying yes to everything this man wanted, molding myself into his perfect victim. Not anymore. Give me the phone. Each word was measured, dangerous. Instead, I stepped backward, my fingers moving quickly across the screen. I'm calling the police. You're calling nobody. Marcus lunged forward. But Dr. Sterling was faster. She grabbed the crystal vase from the side table and swung it at his head. The impact sent him stumbling backward, blood trickling from his temple. "Run," she shouted. We bolted for the front door. The night air hit my face as we raced down the front steps, Dr. Sterling's heels clicking against the pavement behind me. My bare feet found traction on the cold concrete as adrenaline flooded my system. My car. Dr. Sterling pointed to a silver sedan parked 3 houses down, hidden in shadows where Marcus couldn't have seen it from the window. Behind us, the front door slammed open. "Maya." Marcus's voice boomed through the quiet neighborhood. "You can't run from this." We reached the car as headlights swept around the corner. For a heart-stopping moment, I thought it was one of Marcus's associates. Then I recognized the familiar outline of my Aunt Denise's Cadillac. "Thank God," I breathed. But Marcus was closer than I'd thought. His hand grabbed my shoulder just as Dr. Sterling got her car door open. "You signed those papers willingly," he snarled in my ear. "Try to fight this in court, and I'll destroy what's left of your reputation. Rich girl loses inheritance to gambling debts, drug problems, mental instability. I'll make it all stick. Let her go, Martin." We all turned. Aunt Denise stood beside her car, her lawyer's briefcase in one hand and something else in the other, something that gleamed in the streetlight. "Pepper spray," she said calmly, raising the small canister. "And unlike my niece, I have no problem using it on a man who puts his hands on women without permission." Marcus released me but didn't back down. "Denise Washington. Still playing the family protector, I see. Still playing the career criminal, I see." Aunt Denise's voice could have cut glass. "Surprised you remember me, considering how many families you've destroyed." My stomach dropped. "You know him?" "Know of him. I've been investigating Martin Cartwright for the past 18 months, ever since Christina Rodriguez's family hired me to track down their daughter's missing assets." Aunt Denise smiled grimly. "Small world, isn't it, Martin?" Marcus's confident facade finally cracked. "You can't prove anything." "Actually, I can." Aunt Denise opened her briefcase with one hand while keeping the pepper spray trained on Marcus with the other. Bank records showing fraudulent transfers from 5 different women across 4 states. Marriage certificates filed under 3 different names, none of them legal. And my personal favorite, security footage from a jewelry store in Miami where you pawned Christina Rodriguez's grandmother's wedding ring. She pulled out a thick folder and tossed it on the hood of her car. 18 months of investigation, Martin. Every crime, every victim, every dollar you've stolen, it's all here." Dr. Sterling moved closer to examine the documents. "This is incredible, Mrs. Washington. I've been trying to build a case for years, but I never had access to law enforcement contacts. Private investigators. The kind of resources it takes to track a professional con artist across state lines." Aunt Denise's smile was sharp. "That's what happens when you mess with family." Marcus looked between us, calculation flickering in his eyes. He was trapped, but men like him always had an exit strategy. "None of this changes what Maya signed," he said. "Those documents are legal and binding. The estate transfer goes through Friday whether you like it or not." "About that." Aunt Denise pulled out another document. "Maya, do you remember calling me last month about updating your grandmother's will?" I frowned. "We talked about it, but I never," my eyes widened as understanding hit. "You didn't." "I absolutely did. Filed a codicil to Rose Washington's will, backdated to 6 months before her death. Any inheritance transfer requires approval from the estate's legal representative, that's me, and written consent from 2 family members. Jasmine's signature is already on file." Marcus's face went white. "That's forgery. That's protection. The transfer Maya signed tonight. Completely invalid without the additional signatures." Aunt Denise stepped closer, her pepper spray still ready. "Your biggest score just became your biggest mistake. The sound of sirens grew louder in the distance. "You called them," Marcus said. I held up my phone. 20 minutes ago. The police cars rounded the corner with red and blue lights painting the quiet street in chaos. Marcus looked around desperately, at Dr. Sterling blocking his path to the sedan, at Aunt Denise with her pepper spray, at me with my phone still recording everything. "This isn't over," he snarled. "Actually, it is." Detective Rivera stepped out of the lead patrol car, his weathered face grim but satisfied. "Martin Cartwright, also known as Marcus Chen, also known as Michael Carson, you're under arrest for fraud, bigamy, and identity theft." 2 officers flanked Marcus as Detective Rivera read him his rights. I watched, feeling strangely detached, as they cuffed the hands that had touched me with false tenderness for 2 years. "Mrs. Washington," Detective Rivera nodded to Aunt Denise, "thank you for the cooperation. We've been tracking this guy for months." "The other victims?" Dr. Sterling asked. "Will finally get their day in court. Your evidence, combined with Mrs. Washington's investigation, should put him away for a long time." As they loaded Marcus into the back of the patrol car, he caught my eye through the window. Even now, even caught and cuffed, he had the audacity to mouth the words, "I love you." The lie was so complete, so practiced, that for a split second I almost believed it. Then the car drove away, taking my nightmare with it. Dr. Sterling put her arm around my shoulders. "How are you holding up?" I looked around at the chaos on my quiet street, neighbors peering from windows, police tape being strung up, evidence bags being filled with the remnants of my shattered life. "I don't know," I admitted. "I feel like I've been living someone else's life for 2 years." "In a way, you have," Aunt Denise said gently. "But Maya, the important thing is you fought back. You chose to save yourself." "We all did," Dr. Sterling added. "This is what happens when women stand together." As dawn approached, I realized she was right. Months later, I stood in the garden of my grandmother's house, my house now, legally and completely. The estate transfer had been reversed, Marcus was serving 5 to 10 years in federal prison, and I was slowly learning to trust my own judgment again. Dr. Sterling had become more than an ally, she'd become a friend. Together, we'd started a foundation to help fraud victims recover their assets and rebuild their lives. 5 women had already been helped through our program. "Maya." Jasmine called from the kitchen. "The contractors want to know about the marble in the foyer." "Rip it out," I called back. "All of it." I was renovating the house top to bottom, erasing every trace of Marcus's influence. The imported tiles, the expensive fixtures he'd insisted on, it was all going. I wanted to remember what the house had felt like when Grandma Rose was alive, when love lived in these walls instead of lies. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number, "Thinking of you. M." For a moment, my blood ran cold. Then I remembered, Marcus was in prison. His phone privileges were monitored. This had to be someone else. But my hands still shook as I blocked the number. "Maya." Aunt Denise appeared beside me, concern in her eyes. "What's wrong?" I showed her the text. She frowned, then made a quick phone call. "Prison confirms he's still in custody," she said after hanging up. "Probably just a wrong number." I nodded, but unease prickled at the back of my neck. Marcus had been a master manipulator with connections I was still discovering. Even behind bars, could he still reach me? "Don't let him live in your head," Aunt Denise said firmly. "You survived him once. You can do it again if you have to." I looked around at the garden my grandmother had loved, at the house that had sheltered 3 generations of strong women, at the family and friends who had stood by me when I was too broken to stand by myself. Marcus had tried to steal my inheritance, but he'd failed to understand what I'd truly inherited from Grandma Rose: resilience, courage, and the knowledge that some things are worth fighting for. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Dr. Sterling. New victim reached out.